Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Reese, and I'm here with two of my closest friends, Hakeem and Jason, and we the Diversified Gentlemen. And it's our pleasure to have G Ski from up the street again. Appreciate
Back,
it.
Back.
y'all must have like that rhyme, so y'all vote me back one more time.
Back by
Jesus.
popular demand.
Jesus
Back by
Christ.
popular demand.
Oh,
Oh,
thing
man.
went triple platinum.
Hey,
Hey, how y'all fellas been?
Good.
Hey man, same old, same old.
Same old, man.
All right, cool. So today we're going to talk about what it means to you to be a man and having those responsibilities and all the craziness that going on in the world. How do you deal with that? So far the theme has been a diversified gentleman, where we've talked about traveling and investing, but today we'll go a little deeper as to what does it mean to be a man and kind of some of the challenges you've faced. So start with you, G.
so I guess when I think about being a man, taking care of your responsibilities, whether that's paying the rent or whether that's taking out the trash or whether that's making sure your family has food on the table. I think just being a man is just taking care of your responsibilities to me. And that's kind of where it starts with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I know for me, man, it's over the years it's changed. It depends on where you are in your life. Like when I was 18 with no family, my definition of a man was completely different. You know what I mean? It was all about, can I sustain myself? Am I employed? Am I getting educated? Am I who I have to be? And then as you transition through life, it modifies. Then you get, a serious relationship or you get a wife or a family, your priorities change a little bit. And becoming a man, uh, it changes. Your definition changes on what you find value in. And as you get older, I'm sure, I don't know yet, but I'm sure that after your kids leave the house, and after you met, just you and your wife there, or with what's going on, I'm sure it changes a little bit then too. So I think it just depends on what phase of your life you're in, what you determine what it is to be a man. You know what I mean? It's not just having male parts, or I'm a man, hit my chest. I'm a man, I'm a man. Is uh, where are you, and what are your principles at that phase of your life? What are your priorities? What do you stand by? And for me, it depends on what age you ask. They've changed. I think I've grown, but they definitely have changed.
What's some of the challenges you face, and how do you guys push through that day to day?
Um, Day to day is, I don't know, that's tough because it seems like each day, well, not seems, but each day brings on its challenges. Each day brings on uh, a different way to go about that day. So um, if I can say it's just having a routine, trying to stick to that routine. Granted, I know it's like I said, it's always things that throws that type of stuff off, but um, I think a routine helps it a bit to kind of keep it in that direction. Whether you have to write it down, whether you have to text it, take a picture of it, print it out, having that routine gives you, I guess you can say, that foundation to take care of your responsibilities.
Like what kind of routine? Like, give an example. What routine kind of gets you going and sets you basically on the right path? And
so I guess I can go into it. So I don't get enough sleep. I don't sleep long. I can't, for whatever reason, I can't do that whole sleep in thing. Mm-hmm. And so what I used to do, I get up and I'll start doing something. We had a Zoom call, and I think it was just us that's in the chat. And Jason said, like, when you wake up like that, start jotting it down. Mm-hmm. Whatever's going through your head, start putting it on paper. I have done that since you told me. And like you said, I've been, waiting like a month, and I'll go back and read it. Like, how was I thinking about that, or why was I going there? So that's kind of one of my routines. I'm trying to get into the habit of doing it every day, and not just when I kind of like wake up out my sleep or wake up early, or but if I'm gonna start to do it every day, to where when I get up at 5:30, before I brush my teeth, before I look at my phone, grab the pen and paper, and whatever's going on, let me jot down what's going on.
Yeah. That's funny that you say that, G, because ever since Jason brought that up, I've been doing the same thing. But instead of doing it when I first wake up, I do it when I first get to work. So I was trying to do it when I first woke up, but it just, I don't know. I get, because my routine when I wake up is I'll get up, shower, and then I kind of get my day started. But it's like that first, I would say first 10 to 15 minutes at work, I'm kind of getting situated. That's when I'm like, okay, let me just sit down and just jot some stuff down. So I actually brought that book, you know, my diary, journal, however you want to name it.
Man journal, man. We don't
that
diary.
man journal. There you go. Man journal.
Diary.
What am I diary? What am I thinking?
Got a lock and key on it.
Got a little heart lock on it.
Man, I'm messing up over here. But when I get to work, I use like that first 10 to 15 minutes to just jot down whatever's going on in my mind. Whether it's something I want to knock out that day, something that happened the day before, something that we're working on as a group. I'm just jotting, or, you know, like, I think my last journal entry was just how the podcast is going, in my opinion, like how excited I am to see where this podcast is going. That was my last journal entry. So yeah, ever since you brought that up, Jason, I've been doing
cool.
Well.
I know for me, man, journaling, it helps you be vulnerable. Because one thing about men, you know, we're not allowed to be weak and vulnerable and sensitive into our feelings. We gotta have this facade of, you know, toughness, or this armor we gotta wear outside to kind of portray.
Especially men of color.
Oh my God, yes, man. And
especially
honestly,
men of color.
It's exhausting sometimes. You know, you get into your own space and your own time with nothing going on. You write your stuff down. You can be vulnerable, and that's all right. I mean, I don't mean that to say, you know, sound soft, but our head has a lot of stuff going on in our head. You know, are we good enough? You know, did I say the right thing? Am I being a good friend? Am I, you know, is it a two-way street? Or am I taking too much? Or am I being a good father? Things happen all the time. We start writing this stuff down. You can sit back and kind of just take it in and think about it a little bit. It helps you get your thoughts together a little more. Because I don't care, nobody says no one has it all figured out. We don't. We got questions. We got insecurities like everybody else. You know, I'm 42 years old. I still have insecurities. You know, you have to address and do those things.
Black don't crack.
Right.
It's like 42. God damn.
Hey man, drinking that water and apple cider vinegar, man.
Oh, Tyson Bedford looking ass, man.
Yeah, the one thing I learned though, man, is that it's okay to not know everything, you know. But I think part of being a man is that drive to want to try to learn as much as you can and try to progress. And you guys already said it, is trying to get better. That's part of being a man, not having everything figured out and not being perfect for everyone all the time. You can't do it. You do that, it's going to put you in a space where you don't feel like you're winning at all in life, regardless of how much money your friends or assets you have. If you don't get that mental in check, your self-talk, what you're telling yourself and who you are as a person, as a man, you have to get that in check first. That's got to be number one, because you can't be who you need to be for everybody else if you don't have yourself in line. You know, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to have those weaknesses and address those. You know, nothing wrong with that.
So what are some things, either situations or kind of like the environment you try to push yourself in to encourage you, and what steps you take to become a better man, right? What motivations where you know I have to be better because of this, or is it internal?
Kids. I think, man, for me, it was my daughter. I mean, I always strive for more, always strive for better. But every time I look at her, I think I can't fail. You know what I mean? Like, failure is not an option type thing. It's different when you're by yourself, because you're like, okay, well, you know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. When I look at her, it's like, yo, I can't fail. No matter what my goals, aspiration is to become a better person, to make more money, get a bigger house, it's like, I can't fail.
I don't think,
for me.
Yeah, I definitely see that point of view, but I actually changed it from can't fail to I can't stop trying, because there you go. Yeah, so the failure is going to happen. It's inevitable, but it's the not trying, because, you know, you've seen people where they've looked defeated. You know what I'm saying? Neighborhood, someone you work with, you know, they may be 30, 40, 50, they had that divorce or lost a loved one, or, you know, been to jail, came back home,
Right.
and you like, and you still got breath in your lungs, man. You could
Yeah, exactly.
It's not gonna be easy, but you need to at least try to push through that.
Yeah. So let me expand on what I mean by failing. So I wholeheartedly agree with you, 100%. But when I say like I can't fail, it means not only, you know, if I try and fail, it's like not trying again. You know what I mean? So when I say I don't want to fail, it's like me trying something, failing, and then just completely throwing it out the window. Like I don't want to feel like that again. I think that's what I was kind of alluding to, but I wholeheartedly agree with you.
And that's where you learn so much about yourself when you fail. It's like, okay, I tried it this way. Now let me try to turn it a little bit, and then maybe it'll fit this way. That's not gonna work either. And you know, we like he just said, we try to do this stuff on our own. We try to handle it on our own. You know, you try to calculate it in your head, you trying to think about it, but yeah, definitely, man, it builds just character. You know, because now you get knocked down, but you get right back up. And like you said, you just keep trying. Just keep trying. Yep.
So how did the men in your life growing up, it could be, you know, a father, friend of the family, you know, or close or distant relatives, how did they kind of mold who you were then and or now?
So I'll have to say, of course, my father played a big role, but my uncles, which my father, he worked on the boat a lot, so he was gone a lot. And, you know, I could have took that time and I could have just, you know, just went rampant, just ran and did whatever I wanted to do because, you know, I could use it as an excuse. Well, he's never here. But my uncle stepped in from, you know, just picking me up on a Saturday and going to watch football and going to help him wash the car. You know, I was always doing something. So as I got older and, you know, two of my uncles were in the Army, my other uncle went to the Navy. And he told me basically he knew the situation. He grew up in the situation. He was like, J Ski, you got to get from around here. That's what I think you should do. And seeing him pull up to the house in that black expedition, stepping out with that black uniform on. You know, of course,
no, he didn't.
Yeah. Hey, let me drive. He said, nope, you got to get your own. Yeah. So definitely put me on track to get my own, and watching him do it and him helping me navigate through it. That definitely played the biggest role in my life, seeing them.
And I don't want to knock anybody that, you know, didn't grow with the father, because women do a lot of strong work,
right?
But boys need some type of male figure in their life. You know what I mean? Women do what they can, but you still need some type of male figure. And you may not think about it like, you know, those that didn't grow up with a father. There is a guy in your life that you kind of emulated a bit or kind of attached yourself to. Not saying that you don't give credit where credit is due to your mother and any other woman that's in your life, but there's always going to be one guy in your life, and whether that's good or bad, you're going to attach to him. You know what I mean? Slightly. You may not really think about it, you may not notice it, but you definitely have somebody. For me, my dad obviously was super hard on me as a kid. So he kind of kept me in line. Like, I was more scared of my father than any kid growing up. So I'm like, we could fight all day. I'm not gonna fight my dad. I'm scared of my dad. I ain't scared of y'all. Yeah. So he definitely kept me in line. And then just joining the military so young, meeting guys like Jason, you know what I mean, who is not that much older than me, but he's older than me.
Yeah, man, slow it down, man.
You ain't that much older than me, but you got me about what? You got me about what? 6 years? No, 7 years. You got me about 7 years. But yeah, I mean, it like growing up, you know, joining the military at 18, I found myself hanging around a lot of older guys. Like, that's just who I kind of attached myself with. I learned a lot of good life lessons from them. And Yeah.
A lot of it, man, we don't even realize it. Like you talked about earlier, men in your life, good or bad, it's a subconscious thing where you model your behavior after them. I don't care if you watching TV. If you watch TV all the time, you see a bunch of males on there, you're gonna model that behavior regardless. Just like your friends. If you're around a bunch of friends that are thinking, saying, doing the same thing, that's who you're gonna model your behavior after. Not to go down a different path, but at least a lot of why young men without that guidance join gangs. It's as simple as
Of course.
because those men model a behavior that they admire, whether it's money, the lifestyle, the bravado, the toughness.
Yep.
They like that. It's easy to emulate that, so they feel a sense of belonging. So you're gonna have that. I don't care if you're who you're raised by. You're gonna model somebody.
Yep.
He is who you're gonna model afterwards. You know what I mean? Like me growing up, my brother was the coolest dude I knew. I loved everything he did. I wanted to do. He wore this kind of hat. I wanted this kind of hat. He wore these shoes. I wanted those kind of shoes. So he didn't know, but he had responsibility where depending on which route he took, I might take the same route. You know, I joined the military because he joined the military. You know, I'm just modeling that behavior. And we both had a father that took care of us, but you can't help who you model after, who you gravitate to. So you have to be careful who you surround yourself by. And for those that are young, people that are in charge of them got to be careful who they surround their child by, because you have no idea who that son is going to model his male behavior afterwards. It's going to happen. It depends on who's it going to be, who's it going to be, and how they're going to influence them. You know,
and that's I'm glad you said that too. That modeling yourself after, because that played another huge role. I saw what not to do.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I do that? Like, why would I do that? And then, like, okay, I see why you did it. I'm not even gonna go over there to put myself in that situation. And people put themselves in those situations, those same situations, doing the same thing repetitively. It's like, why? Why would you do that? And so that building, so I can see, okay, I can see that going on over there. I'm not even going to entertain that because I already know what this is leading to.
Yeah,
that definitely plays a huge role.
Yeah. I mean, and that never. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so my father wasn't around at all, so I may have seen him, 2 or 3 times a year for like the family function, because I remained very close with his side of the family as far as my grandparents, and my grandfather's like the strongest person I know. He's 94, still kicking, but so he had a major role. My dad's brother, so my uncle had a major role, my godfather, but I wasn't with these people daily or even weekly. So kind of like what you said, Jason, regarding like molding yourself after TV, my role models growing up was like Martin and freaking Jamie Foxx. So I was always getting in trouble with the jokes in class, and Jamie Foxx hit him with I was doing that in class. And then the crazy thing is, when I turned 13, that's when I got DMX for Christmas. I got DMX's Dark and Hell is Hot, and I got Jay-Z Hard Knocks Life out. And like instantly I was hooked. And I started, man, whatever Jay-Z said was freaking, it was gospel. After that. And so did, my friends. So yeah, it was, thankfully I didn't go too far over the edge, but it was a scary thing, and it could have turned out worse not having, I didn't have a father in the house. I didn't have any older brothers or any siblings in the house. And, thankfully I joined at a young enough age, joining the military, out of that environment where I wouldn't say father figures in the military, but men that I could, that were successful, astute, educated, and I started to, and I had daily interaction with them, because no matter the people, how much I looked up to the certain men in my life and how strong they were, if you don't have that daily interaction, you'll miss something, so yeah, you guys are all right. And the being around certain people, or being around people where you did not want to end up like, you know what I mean? And that being the motivation right there.
You're real, Reese. I mean, with you, honestly, with the way you grew up, how you just explained, stats say you shouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
Data says you shouldn't have made it. Man. You sitting here right now, highly educated, master's degree, knowing more about wealth than all of us, that mentality. but yet you came from an area that statistically you shouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a testament to you, that internal fortitude also. When you said defining who you are as a man and your decisions, you being here right now on this podcast talking to us based on your background, you shouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You overcame all of that, which shows that anybody listening, that you can't take your past circumstance, use it as an excuse not to progress. You know what I mean? And the military, yeah, it was a good route for you. You got some, some guidance from some older guys or some older mentors. Says, but when it comes down to it, it's your decisions that got you to this point.
Yep.
You gotta give yourself some credit, man. I want to give you credit now for it because yes, it got some influences, but your decisions got you to this point. You know what I mean? Like what Kanye say? We wasn't supposed to make it past 25.
Jokes on you.
Yeah, you from the shy,
No,
man. So shoot, big ups,
Yeah.
man, for real.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And that's another thing too, for me personally, like this podcast, the Black and Brown Investors Group, where it was always a cliche when I heard E.T. Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher.
Yeah.
When he's like, when you find your purpose, you'll wake up before the alarm clock. I'm like, man, shut man. But now I'm like, y'all see what time I'll be posting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I set my alarm clock for 4:44 every morning.
Yeah.
4:15, I'm up wide awake, man. Like up wide awake, ready to get to it. Because I feel that, whether it be a calling or for whatever reason, all of us are supposed to be here right now talking about this. So whoever can see it, that it's a crazy feeling, and that kind of like what motivates me versus a paycheck and all of that. It's just when that cliche actually becomes reality.
Reality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, and another thing too, like what kind of my values too, is just I stay in my own lane. I don't try to compare myself to the next man, what the next man has, because that's not for me. That's not for me. That's not my journey. That's not the path I'm walking on. And I think a lot of people enjoy themselves more when they do just what they can and not try to keep up with the Joneses or I gotta have this or I gotta do this or I gotta go there. That stuff is gonna come. And I think once you're true to yourself, and I think that plays a big role in being the man that you are, staying in your own lane.
And one thing I want to bring up about vulnerability, I was thinking about this while y'all was talking, was it never stops, right? Like who you look up to or who you, I don't want to say admire, but would like to emulate to a certain extent. Like it never really stops. And I was thinking about that because Reese is younger than me, but there are certain aspects of Reese's life that I look up to, or certain aspects of Reese that I look, that, you know what I mean? That I want to emulate her. Like, yeah, I can work on that a little bit more because my boy's doing it. You know what I mean? Even though he got the gray, he looked older than me.
Platinum.
Platinum.
I thought you talking about the bald head.
He got a bald head, but there's certain aspects that of Reese's, everyday life and just the way he approaches certain things, I emulate. And then obviously, Jason's older than me. There's things that about his life that I want to emulate. Jeet's a little bit younger than me. There's things about Jeet that I try to emulate. So it's like growing, looking at, being vulnerable and looking at another man that you call a friend or a brother and saying, you know what, there are things about you that open my eyes about myself that I'm trying to change. Like you have to be vulnerable. You have to be honest with yourself. And just want to say I appreciate y'all for all that you do.
Yeah, my man. And it goes back to that we talked about last week. The circles you're around yourself, the people you're around. You know what I mean? Like us being that, you get those people for everybody. You know what I mean? I love that. You said before, you're younger than me, but remember a couple months ago, I started calling you Sensei. You know what I mean? After them options, man, I'm like, yo, Sifu was on it.
Yeah.
You hit me on some, and I was like, look at it, I'm still learning, man. And this whole age thing, it really is kind of almost to the point where it's almost irrelevant. It's based on life experience
It
and what
really
they
is.
know. If you know more than me,
Yeah.
I don't care if you 18 years old. If you got some experience in something, I want to
Yep.
hear about it, learn about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm learning from you guys constantly. That's why if you get to the point where
Yeah.
if you think you know everything, that's when you know you don't know nothing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You
Yep.
got to keep learning, man. You got to keep learning, progressing, and no matter who it's coming from, you got to be ready to receive it from anybody you talking
Yeah.
to. You know what I mean? Just
Yep.
talking to G last week on the last podcast about travel. I'm like, that's a good point. Never thought about that. You know, you're always learning something, man. That's why I'm telling you, man. It
Yeah.
sounds real corny, man. But that's why I love life. Because you always learning something new, exposed to something new.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
even better when it comes from people you're with all the time. Your brothers, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
There's no better life than
Yeah.
that.
But you got to be receptive to it.
Yes.
You got to be receptive, because a lot of people, man, they hear things and it goes in one ear and out the other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I might as well just been talking to that wall. So you definitely have to be receptive to, you know, the knowledge that people are trying to give you, no matter their age. I treat everybody the same,
Right.
whether you're 65 or 18, you know what I mean? If you want to have a conversation, astute, intelligent conversation, let's have an intelligent conversation, because I might learn something from you that I didn't know, but I got to be receptive to it. If you're not, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss the points.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like even out of the circle, going back to public figures, for instance, like two of my main, not idols, but people I look up to and role models, I think is, you know, the late great Nipsey Hussle and LeBron James. And LeBron James is, you know, 4 months older than me, but when you look at that dude as a family man, as a businessman, even when I work out, you know, him being the same age and this how he keeps his body, you know, so like things of that nature, just grabbing inspirations from everyone. And that his upbringing was, you know, more modest than all of us. You know, this dude was sleeping on his coach's couch. Yeah. And you know, you could say, yeah, he's 6'8" and blah blah blah, but there's a lot of 6'8" broke people
that ain't doing nothing.
People in jail.
Yeah.
Waste the height.
Just
exactly. What did he do with that? And not only that, using his voice to have his own school, you know, this political change he's saying, and he's saying like, forget all the money. I know I'm putting a risk, but putting that at risk, but I'm on a platform. I have this responsibility. So that goes to my next question regarding like your responsibility and, you know, what do you guys feel about leaving a legacy? Do you guys think about that at all?
Yeah, I can't even tell you how many years ago it was, but it was a family member who passed, and you know, preachers talking. What is that dash going to mean? Right. What is that dash going to mean from your birth to your end date? What is that dash? What are you leaving behind? And definitely, I think the steps that I have taken, the steps that I continue to take, I think I will leave behind a great legacy, not only for my family, but my close friends. Because like you said, we're learning each and every day. And when I leave here, I want everybody to know that I am G Ski from up the street. Yeah, definitely. I think the steps that I'm taking, they will look at that dash and they would say, you know what? G lived a great life, and I'm glad to call myself his friend or brother or sister or, you know, acquaintance.
Yeah. What about you guys? What about you, Jason?
I know for me, thinking about personal, like my family, like I told my kids a long time ago, I said, there's 3 things that I'm going to do for you all the time. And that's the 3 P's, I call it: protect, provide, prepare. And what I mean by that is my job as a father and as a man is to protect them, not just physically, but from things, you know, from the world, emotionally, intellectually, whatever it is. That's my job. And of course, provide is pretty simple. I'm going to provide them with, you know, food, shelter, all that stuff there. The prepare is giving knowledge. Make sure they have enough knowledge to take care of themselves, the next generation. And I said, if anything I do or say or decision I make does not fall into those 3 P's, you call me on it. Because I guarantee you, that's what decisions I make, things I say to you, or how I deal with things is around those 3 things. And I take that same thing towards people. My interaction with everybody has to be positive. It's got to be some way either I'm spreading knowledge with you, we're conversing in a way, preparing for something, or we're doing something together that's going to progress forward. If you interact with me, you leave that interaction negative, that's a failure in my part. Because you said that dash like that. I'm gonna use that somewhere. That dash in the middle, because people don't truly die till somebody says their name for the last time. You want to have your name said by somebody in some kind of positive light. I don't care what it is. It don't have to be a statue or a monument, but it could be a cousin, a friend, a brother, or somebody that, hey, I remember when what's the name taught me this, or what's the name did this for me, or what's the name used to say this. This is something significant. It don't have to be, some big monument or some, big financial thing you believe on the earth. Just personal interaction. Everybody you interact with, make it positive. Some kind of way it is. I had lunch last 2 days ago with some students of mine I used to teach ROTC. We had lunch for about an hour and a half just talking and conversing. When we were talking and started thinking, it's like one word that could have said negative to these people to turn them off could have changed our entire relationship. It could have been a way where they didn't want to talk to me anymore or have lunch with me anymore. It could have been like, this guy offended me. I don't want to talk to him anymore. So it made me wonder, who have I offended ever that doesn't want to talk to me or interact with me anymore? And it makes you choose your words and your actions very, very carefully. Every time you have to talk to somebody, you're gonna think about it a little more. So I think it comes down to those interactions, making sure that they're positive and people see you in a positive light. Just making sure you do that every single time you interact with somebody.
What about you, like?
Yeah, for me, I would say it goes to my daughter, like making sure that she's good, she's taken care of, and carries my name in a positive light. You know what I mean? Not just that, but also with what Jason said with those positive interactions that you have with people. Because when I was younger, I've had falling outs, a few falling out, not a lot, a few falling outs with a couple individuals, and it was over something stupid. You know what I mean? And over the years, I've always thought to myself, like, is that how I want to be remembered? Like, we had a falling out because of, something dumb when we were 18, 19 years old. We just never mended those wounds, I guess you could say. So I strive to make sure that, whoever I speak to or interact with, I just try to lead that conversation in a positive notion. It's pretty simple to me. I don't strive to leave a legacy. I just strive to leave good impressions, and I think that will definitely live a lot longer than you think.
Yeah, one saying I always think about is the people who know you the most. The people who know you the best should respect and love you the most. So it's easy to go to work every day, put on a facade, then come home and just be a jerk where people no one looks up to you, no one likes you. And being in the military, I know you guys been at retirements where that family sitting in the front row and they looking like
Like,
this dude,
you don't even like us like that.
You need to stop lying.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't want to be that person because the saying is like we're all expendable when it comes to like the military. I get out, there's going to be another major whatever going in.
You're just a number. Yep.
Exactly. However, you take me out of my family, you take me out of my group of friends, that's going to be long lasting. So you got to keep that in mind too.
Yeah. Also, people don't forget jerks either, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a jerk, you won't be forgotten. So take it how you want it.
Yeah. All right, man. So G, what you want to lead the people? What you want to tell?
So in being a man and being in the military, sometimes you have to be away from your family. So as you guys know, I'll be coming up on deployment here soon. Now with COVID and everything that's going on, it's going to be different. Even though this will be my first one, it's going to be the first time I'll be away from my family. Did a year in Korea, and it was kind of rocky at first, but we got with the program. My daughter's a little younger. Now she's a little bit older. At first, it was Daddy, when are you coming back? And I was like, yo, when are you leaving? Like, so I had this whole house to myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's gonna be real tough because before we can get to the location that I'm going to, we have to quarantine. So it's supposed to be leaving in January, but they want you there early. So I may not be with them for the holidays coming up for New Year's and Christmas. And I know that's going to be tough on my wife and also my daughter. So hopefully they'll push it back to where we can at least be home for Christmas. But if not, I think it'll be kind of tough. But it's going to be interesting. First deployment, so it'll be interesting. Ready to learn.
How are you planning, as a man to basically hold that together? What recommendations do you have for anyone who has to deal with that?
So what I would say, and we talked about it too, the vulnerabilities. Ask for help. If you need help, ask for help. Let someone help you. If someone's offering, let them help you. I know some people look for stuff in return, but there's some genuine people out there, especially when somebody's going through this type of separation from their family. Let the people help, whether it be at the Airmen and Family Readiness Center, whether it be your first sergeant, whether it be family members. Let them help you. And then, I talked with you guys before when we talked last week about actually starting that the chat group, starting the Instagram page and the Twitter page. So a couple of people that I'm going with, the first thing they said, hey, we'll get over there and we'll talk about stocks. We're gonna teach everybody this. So hopefully I'll have time to kind of, set up some classes or kind of corral people and, not only just be a virtual or social thing. We can actually get together because we're all going to be going through it at the same time, away from our family. So hopefully we'll be able to set something up to where we all can be together and the questions or the roadblocks or obstacles that we may have, we'll be able to work those out together. So that's what's big is coming up with that I have.
What about you, Hakeem? What tips you have?
So I would say, it kind of goes back to what Jeet said. I think that's a really good point with asking for help. You see a lot of guys that, they go through things, they think they can just knock it out themselves and without asking for help. And then if it comes up in the wrong situation or wrong conversation, it's like, well, I got this going on. Oh, woe is me. It's like, well, you never brought that up. You know what I mean? Like, this is what friends are for. This is what your group is for. This is what your circle is for. So use them to help you get out of situations, man. It's everybody needs help. You know what I mean? At some point in their life, you're always going to need help. So just don't be afraid to ask for it. Because those are what friends are for, right? They're there to pick you up when you're down. So
those true friends.
True friends. Yeah. Snakes that kick you while you're down.
Right.
Jason, what about you, man? What's good with you?
Oh, I would say just don't afraid to be vulnerable. It's all right. You know what I mean? It's okay to tell your friends you love them. That's one thing I didn't get to with the podcast. But it's okay to tell your boys you love them. You ain't got to say, Hakeem, man, I love you. But it's okay to say, all right, bro, I'm talking to you later. Love you, man. It's all right. It's okay to express love as a man.
I know I'm light skinned, man. I'm not that light.
You ain't light skinned, man. You beige.
I am. Caramel.
Yeah, it's okay to be vulnerable, express love to those you love. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you right now, you're not going to regret telling your boy you love him if you appreciate and love him. Just say that. It's all right. You know what I mean? It's nothing and that's not weak showing love. So I want to get people to get over that. I'm tired of that. So it's not tough to not tell somebody you love them. So don't be vulnerable. If you care about love somebody, I don't care if it's a man, I don't care if it's your brother, if it's whoever it is, it's okay to express that. And do it while they're still walking and breathing, not at their funeral or, at some kind of ceremony where they're going to prison. Tell them why you face to face with them. You know, tell me how you feel. You ain't gotta do it every single time. You
I
know,
love you, man.
look at that love, man. See, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. And what I would have is find something that inspires you, that's bigger than you, that kind of what you're living for. So either if it's your kids and understanding, you know, how your action affects them and your last name, or if it's a legacy you want to leave, you know, if you're creative, the type of art you want to leave, find something that inspires you, that when times get hard, you can look to that and understand you're here for a bigger reason, which will motivate you to push through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, G, we need some bars, bro.
Bars, man.
Bars.
We need some bars, man.
Waiting.
Here we go.
Turn my volume up so I can hear this.
Here we go. Let me turn my volume down.
Turn it down.
So today we talked about being a man. We talked about taking those steps, having a plan. You can't go fast if you're standing in the sand, but just be your only man. And I say that to say this: surround yourself with a good circle of people.
Yeah.
Even if you're not learning from someone in your circle, bring them up, help them out.
Hey, it's okay to fail, man. It's okay to fail.
Listen up.
It's the effort.
Okay to fail.
It's the effort.
Be your own man.
We got that. We got edit for that. So
Okay.
Jason got the software.
I got it. We ain't worried about it.
All right, everybody.
Oh my
We
goodness.
appreciate your time. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Y'all be easy.
Later, y'all.